Hi, um, my name is Emily Mellenbacher, and I'm a birth mom. Shh. Um, I placed my son almost 6 months ago on July 12th. He will be 6 months old on July 10th, and he is the cutest little nugget I have ever laid my eyes on, ever. Um, I'm a lot different than other birth moms because I didn't know I was pregnant. It's kind of like the show. Oh, I didn't know I was pregnant. um, I didn't gain any weight really. I didn't feel any kicks. I still got my period, or what I thought was my period, so there was really no signs. I didn't have morning sickness, any of that. Um, I went into labor on January 8th, I guess, because I started having cramps at work. And I was like, oh, I get off soon. Like, I'll just go home and I'll, like, relax, whatever. And then I went home and relaxed. I didn't really sleep well that night. I went to work the next day and I worked through 9 hours of labor there. And then I went home and I honestly thought I had to take a giant poop. So I went to CVS and I had gotten laxatives and I was like, oh yeah, this is work. And then the cramp stopped for a while and then I was like, oh shit, I gotta poop. So I went and sat on my toilet and I felt like down there and I was like, this, that's not a poop. It was a head. Um, so I screamed. I was living with my dad. I'm living with my dad. I've always lived with my dad. But he came to the bathroom door and he was like, yo, you okay? And I was like, no, I'm having a kid. I screamed again. He heard a baby cry. He busted open the bathroom door and called the ambulance. Um, and then we went to the hospital. I gave birth to the placenta at the hospital. Um, so my story is a little different than most birth moms. I made the decision to place my son in a matter in I had 2 days with him. Um, you don't think you can love something so much and get attached to something so much in 2 days, but you definitely can, especially when it's something that comes out of you that you didn't know was in you. Um, the reason I chose to place was I wanted him to have a father and I wanted him to have a family that could give him so much more than I ever possibly could as a single 20-year-old woman. Um, at that time, I was living with my dad. We were in a really small apartment. I had been on an air mattress for the last 2 years of my life at that point. Like, I moved in with him when I was 18, and I had been living on an air mattress. I work retail. I'm single. I don't have any like hope in dating anybody right now. I don't really want to date anybody right now. Um, I I called my district manager of my job that Sunday, like after everything had calmed down a little bit. Like I got into the hospital at about 4:30 in the morning. I gave birth to him. We're guessing about 3:15 because I was having a panic attack. Um, so I don't really remember what time it was. Um, I called my district manager and I had my mom talk to her because I was like, I can't, mom. Like you talk to her. Um, so we told her, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, basically the reaction of like me too, like what the, like what? There's a child in the toilet, like whatever. Um, so we called her and told her, and she was like, "Okay, um, you figure everything out on your side. Take time, relax, figure out what's going on." Because I wasn't sure if I was going to place him at that point or not. It was definitely one of my like higher choices. Um, but she was like, I'll figure everything out from the work side of everything. And so hung up with her. I spent all that Sunday with him. I was holding him. I hadn't named him because the first couple days, because I was like, oh, I don't want to name him and then like get really attached and not like, I don't know. It was like a mental block thing. I was texting my best friend Maritza the entire time. I was like, dude, I really gotta poop. Like, how do I make this come out? And I had texted her when I had gotten into the hospital after I had gotten given birth to the placenta after I got soda because the girl tore really bad. I texted her. I was like, well, it wasn't a poop. And she was like, was it a baby? And I was like, yes. Yes, it was. And she was like, is it mine? I was like, if you want him, sure. She was like, wait, what? And I was like, Maritza, I shit out a living, breathing human. And she was like, FaceTime me right now. So I FaceTimed her until he got into the hospital room. That was the first time I like held him without like him covered in anything. I didn't have a panic attack. I could the entire time we were waiting for the ambulance and on the way to the hospital, I was having a panic attack, and then I had even more of a panic attack when they took him away from me because I was like, where's he going? Like, is he okay? Because since I didn't know I was pregnant, I smoked the entire time. I drank the entire time. I worked through the two busiest seasons of retail, like back to school season and Christmas season. I did shipment, which is 25-pound boxes, and I did that all by myself. I did everything you're not supposed to do while you're pregnant, and I was really worried that he wasn't going to be okay. Turns out he is. He's perfectly healthy. He has a little bit of a flat spot, but it's getting better. I do have an open adoption. I had called my adoption agency Monday at like noon, and I called them from my uncle. My uncle gave me the number for the adoption agency, and it's a Christian adoption agency. And we went, and I called them. I talked to them for about an hour. They're like, okay, we'll be there soon. They are all the way in Gainesville. I'm in West Palm. That's about a 4.5-hour drive to here. He was in my hospital room by 10:30 that night with his wife, and he was like, we will find you a family. I can bring you profiles in the morning. If you don't like any of them, we can figure this out. Like, are you sure you want to do this? This is a really like hard decision to make. And I was like, yes, because the entire time I wanted him to have a family that had both a mother and a father. I didn't want him growing up like I did. My mom, I've had a lot of dads in and out of my life. The guy I say is my father, he's actually my stepfather, but he's been in my life since I was 4. I didn't want my son growing up like that at all. I wanted him to have a stable father figure. I wanted him to both parents. I wanted him to just be happy. And I knew I would have been a wonderful mother. I cannot wait to have children now, but I want to be more stable in my life. I want to have someone to support me in all of this. I want to have a better job. I want to be in my own home. The family, the next morning, he walked into my room, my adoption counselor, Jerry, the man, he the best. He walked into my room, and I was fake sleeping because I figured if I was fake sleeping or if I looked like I was sleeping, that this whole thing would not happen. Because I just wanted more time with him. He brought a profile book of the family that I fell in love with the first time I laid eyes on their picture. He then told me that they were already in the waiting room. So I was like, oh, they can come in, like, it's cool, like, I want them to, like, see him, I want to meet them, I'm so excited, like, this is gonna be my son's parents for the rest of his life. They walked into my hospital room, and as soon as the mom walked in, she just started crying. She just started bawling, and I had been crying all morning anyway. And I was like, please, please, please don't cry, please don't cry, please don't cry, because I didn't want to cry anymore. I don't show my emotions very often, as you can tell in this video. I explain them, but I don't show them. I don't cry ever. I don't tell people I like them. It's just like, oh, sup. But she walked into my hospital room and she just started crying. And that, like, seeing them as happy as they were, like, I knew it was happy tears. I knew it was them. First thing I told them was that I want an open adoption, and if you don't want to do that, then this isn't gonna be a thing, because I want to be in my son's life. I still want to see him grow up. I want to know him. I don't want him having all these questions that nobody's gonna know the answer to. I want him to ask me about his birth father. I feel like being in his life will do him more better than me, because he'll be able to know me. He'll be able to know where he comes from. He'll be able to know why he likes certain things and dislikes certain things. He loves sweet potatoes, by the way. I love sweet potatoes. So they came in and I met them. We talked for about an hour, I want to say, and we took pictures, and then Jerry asked them to leave, and I signed the adoption paperwork. That was one of the hardest things I've done, like signing away your rights of your child completely. And then I asked them to come back in because I just didn't want to sit there with my adoption counselor. I wanted, like, the new extension of my family to be there. And then I found out that the father's family was there. And so I invited them in, Nana and Pop, and she walked in and started crying, and then I started crying more, and then my mom started crying more, just because it was such an emotional time. And she held him, and she, like, I saw it, like, instantly, like, click, like, fell in love. I was like, yes, that's what I wanted. This is what I wanted. And then we all chilled for about an hour, and Jerry said, Emily, I think it's time that you give Brendan over, because that's what I named him. I named him Brendan. The family had changed it to Abram. He said, I think it's time that you give Brendan over to Ashley and Zach. And then I just remember emotionally shutting down completely. Like, the tears just stopped. I gave him to them. It was cold outside. I put on some sweatpants because I had been in shorts the entire time because it was a little warm in my hospital room. And my best friend came and visited me. My best friend Alyssa came and visited me, and she brought me an owl and chocolate and all of that. And I just remember holding on to that owl as hard as I possibly could. And I left the hospital room. And then the next month or so, I couldn't go back to work. So I was sitting at home by myself every day, and I couldn't do anything because, like, anything excessive, or I couldn't go to the gym. Like, I had torn really bad, so I had to let that heal before I could do anything. The next couple months were really hard. I cried most days. Like, most days I was in tears, at least at one point in the day. And then I started telling my friends, like, what had happened, because none of them had known. Like, none of them knew I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. I met up with my friend Daryl the Friday after I had gotten home, and we met up at Smoky Bones, and she was like, hey, what's new? I haven't seen you in a week. Like, how are you? Oh my God, I miss you. And I was like, I had a kid. She was like, what? And that's most people's reactions, because everybody had seen me in those 9 months, and they're like, and every time I tell someone, they're like, no, you weren't. You didn't know. Like, how do you not know you're pregnant? I told her, and then I went and saw my friend Sam a couple weeks later. I went to the hookah bar because that's where I go, because I wasn't 21 at the time. I've turned 21 recently. But I wasn't 21 at the time. and I went to the hookah bar to see my friend Sam because he's been my friend since our freshman year of high school, and he's my best friend. Like, he's like my big brother and everything. And I walked in and he pulled me aside and he was like, Emily, are you on drugs? Because my body had went into shock after having Abram, and so I was like a stick. I was like this big. And he's a recovering drug addict, so he was like, Emily, do I need to like talk to you? Do you need help? Like, are you okay? And then I told him, and he was like, oh, well, shit. I hope you're okay. If you need me, just call me. Like, he's been really supportive. He's like been the blunt friend of everything, which I really need. Him and my dad both have been like, you're good, like, calm down. And then I went back to work, and I've been working there for a while. I've been back since February, and I hadn't told anybody, and then I had a mental breakdown at work and ended up telling everybody. And then I saw my son on June 8th, the day before my birthday. We met in Ocala because they live up in Gainesville. We met in Ocala, and we had a lunch at this place called the Ivy House, and it was delicious, and I got to spend time with him. I was there with them for about 3.5 hours, I want to say. It was really nice. I had so much fun. He's so big now. He is the happiest little nugget I have ever seen in my life. And all the pain I've felt for the last 6 months has definitely been worth seeing him as happy as he is with his family, as happy as his family is with him. I'm glad that I made this decision. I also went on a birth mother retreat on my birthday in Oregon. That was a lot of fun. I met some wonderful, wonderful lifelong friends, I hope. It's through the nonprofit Tied at the Heart, run by Jessa Lynn Spites, and she is amazing. That really helped me a lot. I'm glad I'm getting help early on in my placement, because I feel if I don't, I'm just gonna fall into a deep, dark pit of depression, which I'm pretty sure I already had beforehand, and this has just amped it up a little bit. But it's definitely been an experience. Now that I've blabbered on for 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes, I'm gonna end it here, and I hope to make this YouTube channel a birth mom vlog, in the life of a birth mom. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Yeah, so my name is Emily. Yeah, I'm really bad at ending things, so deuces.